So, Brandon, welcome, welcome, welcome. We appreciate you taking the time to set this up today. We're recording for those who could not be with us. Folks are busy serving our children, youth, and their families, and so some may be able to listen to this after the workday is complete. All right. I will turn it over to you, Brandon, and thank you, Ariana, for helping to set this up and for recording.
Hello, hello. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Y'all are amazing, and I'm very glad that we all got to meet and put this together. Hello, everybody. My name is Brandon Bush Thompson. I am the engagement coordinator for Grow Democracy DC Civic Education Fund, and this presentation is a part of our project Rank the District, where we are directly responsible for educating DC residents about ranked choice voting. For this particular session, my goal is to make sure that everybody walks away not only being able to understand ranked choice voting, but being able to feel empowered and confident and to go out and talk to other people about ranked choice voting. So, before we hop into everything, I really want to encourage everybody to be ready to engage, participate, and also bring forward any questions, comments, concerns that you might have. Um, I really want to encourage everyone to bring a level of candidness to this conversation because I understand that this is something that is very new. It might feel very confusing, and it might even be very frustrating as well. So, if you have any of those concerns, I would rather we have that conversation here with all of us in a safe and comfortable space where we can be honest with each other and talk to each other candidly about ranked choice voting, because I'd rather you be, here feeling that in this space and we address it than for you to be in the voting booth come June 16th and feel confused, angry, frustrated, or have questions. I want everybody to feel confident with this by the time we are done. So please do not shy away from asking questions or raising concerns. All right. Keep it respectful. I know that, everybody has their feelings on it, but this is something that is law, it's happening, and all of us have to be ready for it. So let's go ahead and get started. With Rank the District, we are the leading organization that is educating DC residents about ranked choice voting. We are a nonpartisan nonprofit, and a lot of how we engage people and talk to people is really based in trying to facilitate trainings just like this, where we're going out and talking to people who are leaders in their community about ranked choice voting so that they can go and educate people on their own. Um, we're also at different community events trying to get to people. A lot of our focuses are on seniors, people with disabilities, young people's ages 18 to 29. Our specific ward focuses are in wards 5, 7, and 8, and hard to reach communities overall. We are also trying to make sure that we are supporting the Board of Elections so that they understand and know how to run a ranked choice election smoothly. We also train candidates on how to run in a ranked choice election. And then again, we are making sure that we are facilitating and producing educational materials that are reader friendly, that are relevant and culturally sound, so that way everybody can not only understand them really easily, but also relate to it and be able to put it in a space or um, place in their minds where they can easily recall it. So, with that being said, we're going to move forward. So, I want everybody here to kind of talk to me just a little bit, we'll do a little call and response. I want everybody to think about who, if you have one, your top 2 to 3 favorite DC sports teams. I'll like call on somebody just right quick. Um, Beatrice, who are your top 2 to 3?
I feel like you called the wrong person because I'm a New England fan and this is hurting my
That's all
soul.
right. That's all right. You can do a write-in. You can do a write-in.
Oh, if I'm doing a write-in, I'll go with the New England Patriots as number one.
Number one. Okay, period.
Hmm. Yes. So you want me to rank them all?
If you want to, if you have any other teams that you thinking about, we can do those as well.
I- I'll go with the Spirit because I have no idea who they are, and I'll rank them number two.
Okay. I got you. Rank them number two. Do you have any other ones that you want to include?
Sure, let's include the Capitals as
Okay.
number three.
Nice. Um, okay, Maya, let's talk to you just a little bit. What are your favorite DC sports teams, including the Spirits?
Yeah, I would definitely say spirits and mystics. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know much about the other two, but I would put spirit number one, mystics number two, and that's all I got.
Got you. Okay. And then I'll call on one more person. Joanna.
Oh, hello.
Hi.
Um, I like hockey, so I'm gonna rank the Capitals number one.
Nice.
Um, I'll go with Spirits two. And yeah, let's give the Mystics three for the women's side.
Nice. Okay, period. So everybody who just answered, y'all just ranked y'all's vote. What we like to do with this is really showcase like just how easy it is, as well as showcasing how much we do it every day. Every day that you wake up in the morning, you are ranking as soon as you open your eyes. You rank what you are going to wear for the day because you might have a shirt in mind that you want to wear, but it might be in the washer and dryer, so you need to decide something else. So you decide on what your second choice is going to be. You do the same thing when you're going to the grocery store and you're trying to figure out what particular items that you're going to use based on what you're finna cook for dinner and for the rest of the week, the things that you need. You do it when you're about to decide what routes you're going to take to work. What meals you're going to eat throughout the day. Ranking is something that we are doing all of the time, but only now we are ranking our favorite candidates or candidates that appeal to us most within this upcoming election. So, to explain a little bit more about where all of this started and how we got here, in June of 2024, Initiative 83, with the Make All Votes Count campaign, first started collecting signatures from DC residents. They were tasked with collecting 40,000 signatures by the end of the summer, so that way it can be put on the ballot for ranked choice voting and semi-open primaries. Um, they achieved that by July of 2024. And so, with the November 2024 elections, it was put to DC voters, and they voted for Initiative 83 by over 73% of the vote. So, DC residents did vote for this overwhelmingly. And so, in July of 2025, the DC Council funded the implementation of ranked choice voting so that way we could have it in our upcoming elections. So now we are here a little more than a month or so away from our first time using ranked choice voting here in DC. So very exciting stuff. And we're going to continue to work together to make sure that we can do this. All right. So, in regards to talking about the differences of ranked choice voting versus our traditional voting system, you get the opportunity to have more choices. Within a ranked choice election, a candidate has to win by over 50% of the vote. So, with that being the case, you can select multiple candidates, which allows you to be able to vote your values, vote your morals, vote your conscience, rather than voting for the lesser of two evils. You can have a favorite candidate that you really, really feel for and be able to rank them as your first choice, but still go with, a potentially safer choice for your second one or for your third one, somebody who you still like, but the first two really kind of stand out for you. It also eliminates the idea of split votes. sometimes in elections, especially here in DC, when you have so many people running in a particular race or contest, somebody might win a vote by like 30%, which means that 70% of DC residents did not vote for that candidate. We are trying to use this as a more democratic way to address that. It also produces and pushes more positive campaigning. It eliminates or at least decreases chances for people to be very negative during the campaign season and, do smear campaigns against other people. It encourages people to work with other candidates to say, hey, you may not like me as your first choice. You may like X, Y, and Z as your first choice, but I still would love to be your second or your third choice because you never know, that second or third choice may be just as important as your first. So it also pushes a level of accountability. Again, a candidate has to win by over 50%. So if there's somebody who is not doing what the residents of DC want them to do and is meeting their needs, this is a very, very straightforward way of being able to, for DC residents to showcase, like, hey, you know, we not really vibing with whatever it is that you're doing. So we gonna continue to push our votes to other people who are actually going to carry forth our agenda as well as our needs. So we're going to hop straight into it. As you can see to my right, this is what a ranked choice ballot could potentially look like. Of course, going back again to us talking about our favorite DC sports teams. Let's see, Regine, who is this person's favorite choice or their favorite candidate? Regine, can you hear me? Okay, we're gonna move on to something else. Kim, are you here?
I'm here and with you. I think
Yes.
that the Mystics, our women's basketball team here in DC, is the first choice in this.
Yes, that is very much so correct. So, once again, in a ranked choice election, a candidate has to win by over 50% of the vote. They have to reach that 50% plus one threshold for them to be declared a winner in a ranked choice election. In order for them to get there, a candidate has to be able to, function throughout their entire ballot. And the way that that works is that a voter has to rank their favorite candidate first in that first column, like you see here, where this person voted for the Mystics. Then they get to rank up to five or up to four more backup choices. And in total, they get five people or candidates that they can rank in total. You do not have to rank all of the candidates that are there. You don't have to use all five of those choices if you don't want to. And if you only wanted to vote for one or rank one candidate, you can do that as well. You can rank only two candidates if you wanted to. The choice is up to you. We encourage you to use all of the choices available to you or as many as it makes sense. Um,
Brandon,
yes.
question to have you pause here, because
Mhm.
I think this is the part where we're so used to making sure we're not undervoting. And
Yes.
so if there are empty boxes, so if I feel really passionate about one person and then I have two backups that I'm like, yeah, I think I'll put those two people if they, I thought I was impressed by them.
Hmm.
But I'm going to leave, but I don't really have a four or a five. So it is
Yeah.
okay for me to only fill in boxes 1 through 3 and leave 4 and 5 blank. That I won't be penalized for that. And
You
it
will
won't
not
be
be
considered as
penalized.
undervoting.
It will not be considered as undervoting at all. Your ballot will still count. It will still be processed, and those three choices that you put onto your ballot will go down as how you voted for that particular race or context. So yes,
Okay.
be good.
Thank you. And then
Yes.
Jackie,
Yeah.
looks like your hand is up.
Hi, Brandon.
Hey.
Hey, I just
Mhm.
had a quick question.
Yes, ma'am.
So I know these are probably counted or tallied electronically
Hmm.
through a machine.
Yes, yes, they do that kind of similar to how they do it with traditional voting, where you vote on their machines that are in the in-person um, polling places, and then they print it out for you and you hand it to an elections official for them to have like that physical copy of it. Also, if you do mail-in ballots, it'll work pretty much the same.
And so we're actually taking a pencil and filling that in with a pencil.
Pencil, pen, yes.
Now, this is a crazy question. Um, is it possible,
Hmm.
just thinking out loud, that a smudge could happen? I know it's a crazy question, but a smudge could happen and a pencil could bleed or ink pen could bleed into another area, and that could.
That is a really, really good question. It is potentially possible depending on what kind of pen or pencil that you use. Um, we just encourage you to use whatever it is at your capability that you have, preferably like a pen, so that way there's less chances for it to bleed or whatever material that you use, make sure that it's not going to bleed or smudge or potentially mess with um how the machine might interpret your vote. Does
That
that
was
make
my
sense?
crazy question, just thinking out loud.
That's not a crazy question at all, actually. Like sometimes like that could happen and other people might have questions similar to that. So I thank you for that, actually. Yes, Maya.
Maya.
Thanks, everyone. I totally appreciate your overview of like filling the ballot with as far as you want to fill it and not filling all the spots. I have a
Mhm.
question about if there is someone that you literally are so against and you're like, I do not want them on my ballot at all. Is it better to rank them as like your fifth choice or just to not put them on your ballot at all?
We encourage people to not put a candidate that you do not support at all as any of your rankings. Because what you're essentially telling the reader or yeah, the ballot reader whenever you're filling out your ballot is that of these people that I have marked, I'm okay with my vote going to them should, it get to them in the tabulation portion, which we will continue to go over here in a little bit. So if you don't support a particular candidate, do not put them on your ballot, like at all. If you only support two, three, four candidates, that's perfectly fine. There could be 10 candidates on a ballot. There could be 15, 20, how many ever. You get up to five choices in total, and you do not have to use all five if you don't want to. We tell you only support the candidates or only rank the candidates that you support. That's it.
But all the candidates are on the card.
All the candidates will be on the card, but you only get up to five choices that you can rank. So kind of similar um to this ballot, how there's five choices, even though there are only five candidates here, there could be two, three, four more on here, and you'll still get the ability to rank one, two, three, four, and five candidates on your ballot.
This is probably an element. I don't want to. Did anybody else want to ask a question? I just had a follow-up question I can hold until somebody else want to ask a question.
Oh no, we going, we rocking with it. Let
We
me.
rolling with it. Okay. So I was just wanted to kind of see um how is this different from just going in there and the tally process and just voting for who you want because you won't have a second and third runner up. I mean, one person will clearly get the lion's share of the vote and win. So how is this
So think about it as like
helpful?
an instant runoff, like how sometimes voters will be called back to the voting polls for them to select another candidate. or anything like that. Like here, you get the opportunity to vote for or rank any candidates that you would want in that particular race right then, right there. It doesn't require any extra um, it doesn't require any extra campaigning. It doesn't require you to come back later on in the year for you to go do this. You get to vote for or rank your favorite candidates right there. So we'll get into how the tabulation portion kind of works so you can see how it will break down
Oh, okay.
and how the votes will shift. But with that being said, in order for a candidate to get to 50%, your vote will stay with that first choice unless that choice comes in last place or gets the least amount of support in the race. When that happens, the candidate will be eliminated from the race. However, your vote stays in, and then it simply moves to your next choice. So let's say in this particular election right here on my right, of course, this person voted for the Mystics as their first choice. The Mystics comes in last place, gets the least amount of votes in the first portion of the tabulation. Your vote then would simply move to the Nationals, and that will continue to happen and repeat over and over again until a candidate wins by over 50%. Were we good with that part? No questions. Just in case, we got a little bit of stuff that we're going to go over. Um, Before we get into that very, very quickly, we have what not to do in regards to a ranked choice election. You want to make sure that you don't choose more than one candidate in one column or for the same ranking. Um, the reader will essentially kind of see it as if they don't know exactly who you voted for that particular choice, and it won't be able to count that particular race or contest. You'll still be able to vote in other contests or races. It won't eliminate your entire ballot, but it will affect your vote for that particular race or contest. Um, you also don't want to rank a candidate more than once. A lot of people like to assume that this gives a candidate more points or it gives more value to their vote if they fill them out more than once. It'll essentially just count as one vote. So we don't encourage you to do that. Just mark that one person as your favorite if that's who you so choose, because it'll essentially count all the same. We also do not encourage skipping. Skipping is technically allowed, but it could potentially mess with your vote depending on how you skip. So let's say you have candidate A, B, C, D, and E, who you are ranking in your particular election. You vote for candidate A, you choose to skip candidate B, but you rank C, D, and E. Technically, your ballot will still count. What will happen is that candidate C will simply move up in your ranking and become your second choice. Um, D will become your third choice, and E will become your fourth choice. So that happens. But if you choose to skip twice consecutively, then what happens is that you have your five candidates that you voted for. You voted for candidate A, skipped B, skipped C, but marked your D candidate and your E candidate as your fourth and fifth choice. What happens is that because this technically is allowed, that won't mess with your vote, but because you skipped a second time, anything after that will not count. So you really only get that one ranking. So we
Sorry,
just encourage
Brandon.
you to not skip at all on your ballot. Just fill it out as necessary.
Brandon, can I clarify?
Yes.
What you don't want to skip is the choices. It's not about the candidate. It's like you don't want
Yes.
to skip your second choice, you don't want to skip your third choice, but you can skip candidates.
You can skip candidates. You can skip candidates according to how you rank them or how you prefer to mark them on your ballot. That's fine. But skipping your choices is where it then gets a little bit wonky in how it gets counted. So, yeah, just make sure that you're paying very, very close attention to that. Thank you for that clarifying question.
Thank you.
But yeah, this is what a ranked choice ballot is supposed to look like, y'all. Y'all got to make sure that y'all filling them ballots out correctly, okay? All right, all right, all right. Um, do we have any questions up until this point?
Doing good.
All
Everybody's
right.
good? Okay. Thanks,
I'm
Brandon.
gonna keep this pushing. Okay, so now we are going to get into the tabulation portion of it all. This is where we want to make sure that if you have questions, if you have concerns, we can talk about this right here. But I want to be able to get through this first, and then we can go back and, answer anything. In this particular election, we're still working with your favorite DC sports teams. Of course, we have to remember that in order for a candidate to win, they have to win by over 50% of the vote. For this particular election, there are 143 votes that were counted or that were put into this particular election. In order for a candidate to win, they have to get at least 72 votes to win. Here, the Commanders are already up by 52 votes. Mystics are up by 39. Wizards are up by 31. Capitals are up by 16. And the Nationals are up by 5. This is what everyone's first choice looks like, how they mark them on their ballots. Like, the Commanders had 52 people that marked them as their first choice, and the Nationals had 5 people that ranked them as their first choice, and so on and so forth. But as you can see, the Nationals got the least amount of votes for people marking them as their first choice, which means that they get eliminated. That candidate gets eliminated. However, all of those votes still stay in the race. They simply just move to whoever their second choice is. So, as we can see here, one particular voter had the Capitals as their second choice. So now the Capitals get another vote. Um, 3 people marked the Mystics as their second choice. So now the Mystics get 3 more votes. And the Commanders get an extra vote because somebody cast them as their second choice and they get an extra vote now. So that will continue to happen until somebody comes out on top as having over 50% of the vote. Here again, we see that the Capitals have the least amount of support here. So those votes will be redistributed. The Wizards gain 7 votes for the people who mark them as their next choice. The Mystics gain 7 votes for the people who have marked them as their next choice, and the Commanders gain 3 votes for the people that marked them as their next choice. Wizards again here get the least amount of support, so now all of those votes have to be redistributed. And now we have the Commanders come out on top as the winning candidate. Does that make sense for everybody? We know how we got here and all of those things. Does anybody have any questions about how that works?
I have a question.
Yes.
Is there a world in which, even with ranked choice voting, that somebody doesn't get to 50%? I'm imagining, for example, I mean, even this year's at-large Democratic race has like 8 or 9 candidates,
Mhm.
but like a couple years ago, we had 21 candidates. Is there a world in which there are so many candidates that we couldn't actually get to 50% when doing the
Well,
recombobulation?
that is very, 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 very unlikely for
Okay.
something like that to happen, especially with the ranked choice election, because again, the rounds of tabulation will continue to go until somebody reaches that over 50% threshold. Like it'll just continue to go on, just like this. Yeah, it'll have to be very, very specific circumstances, like a 1 in 10,000 chance sort of election to create those circumstances where everybody voted one particular way. So no votes moved and all of that stuff. Like it would get very complex very, very quickly. But yeah, it's very unlikely for something like that to happen.
Cool. Thanks.
Is there a cap on how many rounds of tabulation are allowed, or is it just until the 50%? It goes until it reaches that over 50% threshold. It just keeps on going. Yes.
Yeah.
Any
Thanks
other
for
questions?
showing the graphic this way with that elimination. That actually really helps it cement in my mind
Of course.
how the votes are moving, how your second, third, how your backup votes essentially become part of the calculation of the next. Yeah, I just was
Exactly.
wondering how a second or third vote moves to a first vote, but I get it through
Right.
the process of elimination. Okay.
Exactly. Does anybody else have any questions about how that works? I want to make sure that, we all know what's going on here. And again, this is just an example of how it could look. Obviously, we have races where there are going to be a lot more candidates than just five. But yes, I just wanted to make sure that we were all on the same page. All right, I'm gonna take that as a we good to go. Okay. Um, So if you would like to, this is completely up to y'all. Y'all get the opportunity to rank your favorite DC sports teams yourselves and all of that good stuff. You can reach out or not reach out, but you can scan this QR code or you can go to the link at dcrcv.com/practice and, try it out for yourself and see how it feels for you. The whole point of this is just to get you in the mode of what it feels like to rank your vote when it comes to a mock election. So yeah, I'll give
Brendan, one more question for you.
yes, ma'am.
So, early voting ballots are going to be mailed out soon, right? I think I heard like May 11th or something. And
Yes.
then early voting sites will open up, I think, a week or so later. Um, is anything different on the mail-in vote than what we get when we go in person? The same ease, the same ballot should we
Um,
expect?
As far as I know, no, it's not going to be any different is from what I understand and from correspondence with the Board of Elections.
Okay.
One thing that they have reminded me to talk to people about is to turn your ballots over because sometimes people will get them and they'll only fill out the front, forget to flip over the back and fill out the rest of the ballot. So we do encourage people to examine everything that is there, vote in each and every race, then turn it over and do the same thing there. But it should be the same from when you are doing mail-in, early voting, to when you go in person on June 16th.
Thank you for that. And because the delegate race is a national one, not a local one, does rank choice apply to the delegate race as well?
Yes, it will apply to all races except for party committee member like races.
Ah,
So for the
okay.
Democratic Party committees, it won't necessarily apply to those, but even up to the president, we will be using ranked choice elections.
Okay. Thank you.
Of course. Any other questions, comments, concerns? All
I
righty.
have a sorry, I have a
Oh,
question. This is really way far out there, but I know that like for a lot of us advocates, we see so many changes, like where something gets passed legislatively one year and then gets like undone in future years. And so I'm curious if ranked choice voting is something where that is a possibility. I'm so glad we have it for this election, but is it likely or possible for them to reverse it?
um, it could happen, if that's what DC voters want. Um, there would have to be kind of in a similar way of it being brought forth with ranked choice voting. There would have to be like a whole entire process of getting signatures and then putting it on the ballot for um, the upcoming election for the next election cycle. Um, but yeah, I mean it could happen, it's a possibility. I don't know how likely that possibility is. But yeah, it could happen if that's what DC residents wanted and somebody formed a campaign behind it.
Thanks. Yeah, I don't want to ask you to speculate, but I just was curious. So it's good to know it's a possibility. But I hope that because we got it in place, that people would not be working to undo it. But yeah, super
You
excited
know,
for this. Thank you.
of course, me and you both. I think that this is um a more democratic version of being able to vote. It allows for a lot more voter inclusion in their say so of what a vote looks like, rather than just casting a vote and that being it. Whether you like that person or not, if they don't win, that's just the end of your vote. With this particular system, you get the opportunity to keep your vote and your voice in the race for a lot longer. And it is a lot louder. So, yeah. But
Great
that's
question.
that on that. If you want to continue to get involved, um, let us know. Continue to reach out to us. We can do a educational presentation with one or more of my team members. We are always trying to make ourselves available. We are doing these presentations up until May 16th. So please, please, please hit us up. We are really trying to make sure that we are reaching people as far as we can. After that, we out in the streets. Y'all just gonna have to catch us out at these events that we about to be at. But please also share our materials, any flyers or social media posts. You can find us at Rank the District, on Instagram or on TikTok, also on Facebook as well. And then also go to our website, rankthedistrict.org. We have plenty of materials on there as well and more about our organization. If you want to sign up with us to do some volunteering, we have that available as well. And you can email my boss and my supervisor, Kenyatta at growdemocracydc.org. Also, talk to y'all's people about this. Talk to y'all's people about this, please. Um, this is something that is incredibly important. Like it was said before, ranked choice voting is the most important candidate on the ballot this upcoming election. So we want to make sure that we're talking to as many people about this as we can, and pushing this even in having just conversations about it. Also, reach out to us on social media. We there, push our socials, all of that good stuff. So yeah, just a little shameless plug. But that's that on that. I really appreciate y'all for allowing me to be here and to have this conversation with y'all.